You are not
on
audible,
research.
madam.
I'm not audible.
Now it's all right. All right. Now audible.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So welcome to the day 2 session of the 5 days FDP program on research methodology. Today's session will focus on two important aspects of research. First one is how to conduct a review literature, and second one is how to formulate research hypotheses. In the entire research process, the most important aspect, or we can say the step, is the review literature. So, as a researcher, I understand the importance of the topic in four perspectives. These are direction, foundation, validation, and innovation. If I explain these points very succinctly and concisely, then I would say that regarding the first point, that is direction, review literature helps us to identify the research gap. In other words, we can say that review literature gives us direction towards formulating our research questions and research hypotheses, so which further helps us to frame our research objectives. So regarding the second point, that is foundation in any research, particularly in empirical research, theoretical foundations or theoretical base or support is very much essential because it gives the weightage to the study that actually enhance the quality of the paper. So regarding the third point, that is the validation, review literature ensures that our research problem, our research methods, our research approach are justified and valid. Regarding the last point, that is innovation, it would not be wrong if we said that proper, appropriate, comprehensive, and extensive review literature actually works like a guiding light that illuminates our innovative minds, which adds new insights to the concerned fields. So, to deliver lecture on this important topic today, we have respected Professor Arup Burman sir from the Department of Business Administration of Assam University. So I, on behalf of PDUM family, welcome to you, sir, to this 5 days FTP program. It is our honor to have you as a resource person, sir. So now I would like to request moderator of today's session, Dr. Kaushik Kishore Fukon, sir, who is the Assistant Professor of Information Technology of PDUM Telungia, kindly to introduce the resource person.
Thank you, Nitrasri Bowman, madam. Respected dignitaries and dear participants, a very good evening to all of you. Today is the second day of our national level faculty development program, and as madam has said, we have among us a renowned professor of Assam University, Silchar, Dr. Arup Burman sir, who is a distinguished teacher of the Department of Business Administration, Assam University, Silchar, since 1998. He pursued his MCom from Guwahati University, PhD from Assam University, and have completed postdoctoral research and many other PG diploma. He also received World's Best Teacher Award 2020 by Asian University Network Indonesia and many other prestigious honors and awards across the world. Uh, he also published about 270 research papers in different reputed journals, 38 book chapters, edited various books, and successfully supervised more than 17 PhD scholar. Sir, we are very much proud to have you among us as a resource person. I hope all the participants of this FDP on research methodology will be immensely benefited from your deliberation. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, both of you, because you have invited to me for this. I should say this time is a very auspicious time. Good evening to all of you. The topic, telling of the topic, I normally is a very little fry like that. So I'll not be able to swim over this whole topic. But the thing is that as I have today traveled from the Silchar to Guwahati, from the morning I was busy. Then again now from the hotel I am telling to you, going to deliver the topic. Already I have got the slide in the front of me. Slides are very less because I did not prepare and I don't like to use much more slide also. Still I have to use it because the reason is that as it is in the room, if we are going for explaining the research related issue from my setup, then I think I normally believe that physical deliberation is very, very good, but online I have to give it. I know that many of the things because of technical situations also we have to accept it. Then in the middle we normally feel that the face to face or the physical deliberation normally gives us a lot of the motivation and the orientation also. But let me start with this review of literature. Review of literature, normally I don't like to refine, then refine also. Initially I would like to tell to you that first what we do actually, what we do in case of the doing research. Do you create a problem first? Do you create a problem first? Is it not? We try to identify a problem, but identification of the problem is also based on the research review of literature. Identification of the problem normally is from the review of the literature. Very, very important that many a time what happens, this many of the problems we normally tells is a problem in case of the research, but all problems may not be a problem when we do the review of literature. That means the problem whatever we see, am I audible to all? Because yes.
Sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as the problems are like that, that is, we begin with the problem, then we do review of literature, and many a time we start the literature review, then we end with the problem. So depending upon the nature of the research, we normally go for selection of a topic, or at the same time to execute the research activities. So problem, when you go for a problem, then the words perhaps all of you have heard, research triangulation. Have you heard? How many of you have heard about the triangulation? Triangulation. Yes, triangulation is nothing but is the word which normally goes for validation. Particularly a statement or the research problem, when we identify something, then whether it is a problem or not a problem, whether it is a researchable problem or not a researchable problem, how much is the depth of the particularly problem is, then we can examine with the help of the triangulation. It is a methodology. While you are doing the triangulation, then there is a concept triangulation, concept based triangulation. That means what I am saying is a problem may not be a problem if the concept does not support to us. That is validity. Then again, if the literature, there is a methodological triangulation. How the researcher, if I am thinking, okay, this is the problem, then there is a issue of a method. then the methodological triangulation also we want to do it. We want to check that whether my problem, what I am thinking in reference to a particular problem, then whether these methods are there or not, and whether the methods what I am doing is that the same thing what the others are doing. This is a methodological triangulation. Then there's a data related triangulation, how to collect the data, how people are collecting data, how already existing researchers are collecting data. That is a data related triangulation. So we have got the conceptual triangulation, methodological triangulation, data related triangulation. Then we should have to have the triangulation based on the time, because this many a time at what point of time this research my problem or our identified problems normally matches to the time. So that is a time based triangulation. Many a time we do the triangulation based on the geography. Where? Basic question is that where in what references it has been conducted. So for justifying this, then when the problems we are having, then to justify all these things, then to literature review is essential. And that is the reason why when we tell that, okay, I have written a problem, no, problem is not a problem if we do not do the triangulation. And triangulation can be done with the review of the literature only, because what I am saying may not be a problem, what others are saying that may be a problem, but what others are saying that may be having limitation, and that limitations I wanted to fit. That is the innovation. That I wanted to do something new. I wanted to insert something new. I think, is it clear to everyone? Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes. Triangulation. Then the word, if you are having paper, then please note it down. What do you mean by triangulation? Is not various types of triangulation. Triangulation as a research method. And the connections of triangulation along with the literature review or the review of literature. So the topic is so interesting and at the same time so deep. Many a time we have to become a very good reader. For doing a triangulation or to justify our problem, then we have to become a good reader. And at the same time, for summarizing the literature, existing literature, by covering the aspects of the triangulation, all the aspects of the triangulation, we must have to become a good writer. If we cannot read nicely, a long paper, suppose a 30 page, 40 page, 50 page, or sometimes a big thesis, and the thesis after thesis we have to read, then ultimately we have to summarize within a very little frame, little words. So ultimately, that is essential for the enriching our problem is really a problem, and the depth of the problems we can highlight. That is the basic objectives of the review of the literature. That means the review of literature normally supports in the process of a triangulating of our problems and the title of the research. It's so interesting that while we are doing the review of literature, a traditional researcher, what they do the review of literature, go and see there some review, something, do and write a para, etc. Para, you write a para on the summary. That is a thematic type of review of literature. Then by that way, we normally come to a conclusion. But the literature review is such a scientific process, and it is subjective also. Objective is there, very objectivity is there, but the work itself is a subjective work. So we must have to take care in case of the whether we are going to put it in the objective format or the subjective format. So the objectivity and subjectivity will be dependent on our objectives, clear objectives of a particular statements of the research problem. And when the research problems is very clear, then in support of the methodological, this particular methodology is not triangulation, various triangulation, and within that triangulation, how to write it down, this particular, to justify, to fit our main problems or the statement of the problem, then we automatically find, okay, there is a gap. then we find a research gap. So literature reviews, what they do, not only the triangulation, but through the method of a triangulation, we get the research gap. That where there is a gap, existing resources or the past resources where they have done a gap, and we have to conduct the research under that particular gap only. So finding the gap, research gap, a different type of gap, methodological gap, problem related gap, conception related gap, that we have to find a time relation related gap. The gaps are hundreds. We can tell so many gaps are there. Again, you as a new researcher, an entry level researcher, or those who are already have done PhD also, you can note it down that there are various types of gaps, research gap. How many types of research gap are there? How to determine the gaps? That is, if you note it down, then I think it will be very easy for you to proceed with the rich literature review exercise. Now, all of we know the basic definition of the literature review is that a literature review is a summary of the subject field. Yes, summary that supports the identification of specific research question, that support to the identification of the specific research question. This is actually the books or the textbooks already been saying like this, that very simple way. It does not cover, it does not have that much meaning. Again, I would like to tell the research, a literature review is such a thing again, that needs to draw and evaluate the range of different type of source, including the academic, professional, then the journal, article, books, web-based resources, etc. That is a literature review need to draw on, evaluate the range of different types of source that we normally evaluate it, that whether earlier research is this or not. But the evaluation again, for the evaluating of existing resources, again the methodology is required, that is the triangulation. That means the literature review along with the triangulation, when we find, then it will be connecting with the hypothesis later on. So let me now discuss the thing initially about the literature review, because there is just so many nitty-gritty. I will not be able to complete this one, because at my limited knowledge, I will be able to deliver these things for a complete literature review with an hands-on exercise. Then it will require almost 8 continuous hours. 8 hours. Then only I will be able to say at least the 10% of the literature review how to do it, because there is a lot of the technicalities is there. Fine. Now, what do you mean by literature review? Review, already I said, scholarly chronicle. Already one slide is there. I think you have gone why part. Before that, one slide you are finding what is the literature review. Yes, scholarly chronicle, a historical record of evolving ideas and themes. If you keep it in mind, then automatically what type of research I have to do it, then we can understand. We have to make a historical record of evolving ideas and the themes, what is coming. Next, literature review is an intellectual discourse. That means that for the purpose of doing intellectual discourse, we have to go for literature review only. So discourse itself is again in a qualitative research. Discourse itself is a methodology of doing research. So revealing the obscured insight, that means the unearthing the valuable overlook studies, unearthing the valuable overlook studies. Some studies which are very, very important, and that is unearthing. That is, we have to do it. Next is that the spotting emerging pattern, how the existing research is creating emerging pattern or identifying the emerging trend and explored research areas that we can check it through the literature review. Next, literature review is contribution to the scholarly community. That means this, while we are doing a particular theme, then after that we are doing the research literature review, then it contributes to the scholarly community and enhances a collective knowledge and enriches the academic dialogue. So this is literature review. Literature review is not only the summary, but it is having a historical record, intellectual discourse, revealing obscure insight, then spotting the emerging patterns, then contributing to the scholarly community. These are the basic objectives along with the definition also. Fine. Why do we do the research? That already I said that, okay, a review of the literature. Already I said, yes, contextualizing the research problem. When we are making a research problem, in what context? As example, I would like to tell the civility aspects of the academic institution. Civility is normally in the civil society, civil science, civil polity. There we can find it, but the same civility can be in the context of the academic society, academic institution, where we can find that how the civil practices is occurring. Whether the people are civil, students are civil, teachers are civil, non-teachings are civil, at what type of interactions they use a civil and uncivil. So like this way, it normally, it helps us. Review of literature can be studied much on the issue of polity, but the civility aspects is discussed in case of the behavior, that is in sociology, but not in the context of academic institution. So how to do it is a contextualizing the research problem, then identifying the knowledge gap. What knowledge is normally identified, what knowledge to be identified, or at the same time it helps research. Literature review helps us in identifying the gaps in the knowledge. Next, understanding the theoretical and conceptual framework. Literature review helps us in understanding the theoretical and conceptual framework, that already I said. Then it's provide the methodological insight. It provides methodology, that how the methodology is adopted, how methodology is incorporated in the other researches. So again, it establishes the credibility. When you are doing more review on a particular theme, that it establishes credibility. But the thing is that the more review does not mean that you are having so many para and 100 pages you have done review means it is a rich research. No, it is not like that. It is having meaning, that how you are going to write. Is not a thickly reference review of literature is very, very important. And perhaps all of you know, when you are writing the paper in the Elsevier, when you are writing the paper Taylor and Francis, then their methodology of the review, you can find different types of review. All right, so that type of review also we have to take into account, because this how it, what is the trend, how to say, how to put the references, not references, referring the other resources in the text, so that we can understand. So informing hypothesis and the research question is the last objectives, that the literature for the literature review is to be conducted for the purpose of informing hypothesis or the informed hypothesis, or to create a research question. So this is the why type of the why question of the review of literature. And those who wanted to know further, then you can take these particular slides from your madam. Madam will normally give to you. Literature review on the climate change impact and the biodiversity. Examples I have given you here. Just you see, literature review on the climate change impact on the biodiversity. Then you see this particular example, while you give, what is coming into your mind? Is a science base? People will tell science base. It's not science base. Just imagine. Initially you imagine, then you will be able to read the literature. Imagine that the biodiversity, climate change is impacting on the biodiversity. Then the literature, from where I will get it? We'll get it, suppose the habitat loss. Habitat loss is not only the problem of a climate science, but is a habitat loss is a problem of our natural surrounding. We can write it from the sociological point of view, we can write it from the business point of view, we can write it from the science point of view, we can write it from the other, so the general information point of view. So like this way, habitat loss having, then species extinction, these are the automatically the one array that we can explore the literature review. Then it range shift, and the phenomenological changes also occur because of the climate change. Next is that then another track you can take it, ocean acidification because of the climate change, water level decrease, then ocean acidification, acid is increased, then the coral reefs are increasing or decreasing, and adaptive strategies are people are taking, and then different communities are taking adaptive strategies, or the governments are taking strategies, technologies are taking, business people are taking. Now you see, just then when you are thinking of a particular dimension first, then automatically literature review you can find multiple perspectives. Suppose climate change, habitat loss. Initially you have to make a trade of thinking that okay, literature from where we'll get it. So this is the example, a very brief example I have given you. Now, conducting of literature review. Conducting of a literature review. While you are conducting, I am going to say you that different types of reviews are there. But before that, general way to do a simple PhD scholar or a MPhil scholar or a master degree scholar, then how to do the literature review. That's the reason why, so that you are getting a basic motivation. Okay, so conducting literature review is an essential step in the research that involves reviewing and analyzing existing literature on a specific topic. That is the first thing. But basically, without going much to the technicalities of a research, then we will tell, okay, conducting a literature review means conducting a literature review is an essential step in the research that involves reviewing and analyzing existing literature on a specific topic. That is. Now you will go to the now process. What is the process? Next, you can go for select a step, select a topic that is relevant to your field. You have to select a topic that is relevant to your field. Already I said that, okay, biodiversity, climate change and biodiversity. Relevant, select a topic. What is the topic? Loss, biodiversity loss. Then this relevant topic we have already selected. Habitat loss, we have selected. Species extinction, that is we have selected. Connecting, climate change. Then select a topic that is relevant to your field of study. Any topic. Now you are doing, you see climate change having a broad area. Habitat loss is a broad area. Specific extinction is species extinction is a broad area. Again, range shift, something that this climate change increases the shift of the ranges. How much is the bigger? Is it not? How much is going or how much is expanding? How it is impacting? Perhaps all of we know that now is the winter days all over India. Many a place become much more winter. Some places where there is a winter, there is a now warm. Is it not? Now hot season. And in the Guwahati earlier, by this month of December, we have to wear the jackets after jacket, 2-3 jackets. But today I am wearing only simple shirt. So that is the range. So many range shift. How much is the Guwahati's range is impacted? So this place-wise geographical range also we can see it. Now phenomenological change also occur because of this. Now hot season is much more. Then I know that the monsoon is also coming very soon. The reason is that the hot is there already. In the winter days there is no winter, but during that again we are having the spring season is we are inviting already. Spring is coming. You see that is that type of the phenomenological change is occurring. So like this way you can select a specific topic that connects to your research, and you try to find out various types of research studies connecting to this one, even though you have selected original topic is the literature review on climate change on impact on biodiversity like this. But while you are bifurcating the topics arrays of that under that, then automatically we find something different. Okay, next, clarify your research question. You have to clarify research question or the objective in this case. If your research question and the objectives is not clear initially, later on we are clearing much more by the review of literature. But initially we do have this, what we want to see. Suppose the biodiversity, while you are thinking about the biodiversity, loss of habitat, how much loss of habitat is occurring? Then we have to see, okay, literature like that. Is it not biodiversity, climate change, habitat loss, climate change, species extinction, like that? How much? Where? What is? So like this way, literature we normally select. So clarify and define the research question and the objectives first. Then after the determine what specific aspect of the topic do you want to explore. Later on, because of review of literature, it will give you that, okay, this topic, if we take it, then maybe I will not be able to manage it, so let me become very, very specific. So like this way, to determine the specific aspect of the topic you want to explore, that we can get it from the review of the literature. And once you are having the topic is fixed, after that your research questions and objectives are fixed little bit, then after that you are going to determine that, okay, specific specific aspects of the topic if you want to explore at all, is it not? So next is that you have to decide on the scope of your review. Decide the scope of your review. You decide how much is the scope. Review means entire world, so much literature. You will find now, because of the internet, age of the internet, you are getting the review. Suppose the Scopus index literature, Web of Science index literature, is it not? Or general peer review type of the literature. You can find hundreds. Suppose now the AI, because of the application of the AI, dimension is another area, is it not? Suppose the science space is another area. AI will give you the review of literature hundreds and thousands at a single time. But the thing is that even though they are putting in the front of you that what I have to study, what I have to incorporate, what not, again you have to enter. AI will help you. Okay, this is the list of the literatures you are available in the front of you. Now you select it like that. So while you are going for deciding on the scope of your review of literature, what you do, you have to, yes, you can move the slide. You can move the slide, because another 2 slides, I think after that only you will find it, this slide. Decide on the scope of your review. Yes, example after example. Again, another. Yes, another slide. Yes. So in this slide, what is there? No, before that, another slide is there. Yes, decide on the scope of your review. You have to decide it. Determine, first you to decide what you have to do. Determine the time frame of your literature review. How much time you are going to take literature review? How much you want to devote? If your time is enough, literature review sometimes 4 months, 5 months in your research projects, you can think about the 4 months, 5 months, I will do the literature review. Now, the earlier 4 months, 5 months, you may not get that much of the facility. But today is very easy. By sitting in your home itself, you can do very nicely the literature review. How much time? Means 3 months if you do, then you have to do very extraordinary literature review. But that today's days is like that. AI will support to you at a time 1,000 you will get it. Or if you enter to the Scopus database, then at a time 22,000, 50,000, 80,000 type of data you will find data, or the literature you find within a single day, within a single stroke. Now the thing is that if you do this, out of that, then too you have to do very extraordinary research. So that is the reason why you have to find what is your time frame for your literature review. Are you focusing on the recent development of that particular topic, or the problem, or that particular objectives? Or do you want to see a historical review? What type of things you want to do? Consider the geographical scope, that while you are going to decide upon the scope of the literature, then you have to think about time frame. How much time? Or time frame, what the research already in this, what times they have used. What is the time range within the 2020, like that? Suppose 2020 to 2024, or 2010 to 2024, like this will also time frame. You have to decide how much is the time. One thing, how much time you want to spend, how much time of the study you want to conduct. What is the time frame of the review of the literature you want to conduct, like this. Next, consider geographical space, means where you want to make it. Literature within Asia, within India, within Assam, within suppose this the northeast or the southeast or eastern part, like this way geographical space. Is your review is global? If you are doing the global, are you focusing on a specific region? That you have to decide at the time of reviewing, deciding of the scope of a research. You have to decide the scope. Next, define the inclusion and exclusion criteria. That what literature you will incorporate for your reviewing. You have to decide, you have to define the inclusion, how you will include, why. All the researches out of the now lakhs of the literature is coming. While you go for the scopus, then for a particular topic, maybe 100, 200, 500 or 1000, 1 lakh, 1 lakh 50 like that. So out of that, what you are going to include, what you are not going to include, you have to decide. And what type of source you will include here, that is very, very important. Are there specific types of studies on the publication? That is you have to also see. And which you want to include, if it is a specific one, that you have to decide. Many of the questions are to be kept in mind at the time of deciding the scope of your review. Scope of your review. Okay. Next is that they select the database. Already I said that, okay, database from AI based database. Identify the relevant database from your field. The example you can find, suppose this PubMed. PubMed is a medical science related database. You will find IEEE is a science based or the computer science and engineering. Then the IEEE Explore, this is one group. Scopus already I said, Web of Science I said, Google Scholar you can do. Like this way, there are many of the sources, many of the data bases you can find for the review of a literature. And you should consider the searching in library catalog if it is there, institutional repositories if it is there, then specialized database related to your topic you can search is that like that way. So you have to select the database for the to search. So if once you decide, then you can do it nicely. Next is that conduct your search and keep that track. This is the method. In manually also, while you are doing, earlier there is no internet, no computer, then also people are doing conduct their searches by going various fields. But there is again, while you are doing the review of the literature, then monetary matter, time matters, a lot of the things, resource people will help, then only it is possible. Otherwise it is not. At that time you have to read and read, you have to create yellow punch card, then within that punch card you write it again you put it, then summarize it like that. Or many a time what you do, you read, then after that you have to go for tape recorder. That system is there, but today is something different. It is not like this. So you have to conduct keep the track of your literature where it is. Then you have to develop the systematic search strategy using the keyword, suppose the Boolean operation and or suppose the diversity and climate science, climate change, then the extinction, climate change and extinction, climate change and the loss of the life, like this. So and or these booleans or not, like this. So these techniques helps in systematically doing the research, because out of the lot of the literature in the similar line, you are going to specify your literature and you will find it out what the relevant problems you want to really read and ultimately incorporate and want to explore. So next is that you have to keep the record and documents and search the strategy for the transparency and replicability. That is important. Record and documents you search strategy for the purpose of transparency and replicability, that you have to record it. That is the reason why we put it in the reference. Okay, this I have seen it from where. Now many a time what is there, Scopus based many of the journal, what they do, they will write, if you write a separate file, suppose you are writing your the review of the literature, and this particular literature, again there you are writing this references maybe in the APA format, MLA format or the Harvard format, etc. That while you are writing the references, then you are putting it in another, suppose the file. Now after completion of your review of the literature, your that particular files you are putting it in the last portion as a reference section. Then what is happening? This particular paper will be rejected. The reason is that if you are putting 1, then it should go to the 1. If you are putting 2, then it should go to the putting 2. Or if you are do not giving the 1 to 3 numbers, that also in IEEE fashion or the Harvard fashion, then you are going for reference section in the software, that is Microsoft, the reference. Then automatically this reference will be that there and the backside, and you have to write there. So allocation of the reference for because of this one, what is this? Now transparency and the replicability is very, very important, because what sentence you have written as a reference in the citation as well as for the purpose of a review of literature, that you are keeping it in the record, is it not? So keep the track of the article. You have to track the article like this, including the publication details, abstracts, and the links like this, because while you are doing the research review of the literature, one time you do and you put it, no, you throw it. That is not like that. Many I would like to tell that when we are doing a literature review, try to find out the article abstracts initially. Later on you will find that it's a costly exercise, because this all the papers you have to buy from the Scopus and the Web of Science like this. You have to buy the abstracts, and then you have to review with the help of the artificial intelligence. Then to artificial intelligence you have to keep this that means the subscription. So the subscription also very, very important like this, is it not? Then only once you are giving the money, then only AI will give you the list of the literature. So like this way, keep the track of this article, including the publication details, abstract, and the links, and use the citation management tools like EndNote, Jotero, Mendeley to organize your references, because these are the things, these words. Through this particular discussion, all of my dear friends of the research friends researcher, I am not giving you any type of new thing, but I am telling only the new words. And keep in mind, for doing the literature review, you have to take into the account, these are the words, suppose the EndNote writing, Jotero, how it is applied, Mendeley, where it is there, what is the software of the Mendeley, whether you can install it in your the computer and the laptops about this Mendeley or not, and how the Mendeley are normally defining different type of review of literature, what are the sources of the Mendeley. Then author's aid is another area. There you can find it so many researchers views on the different type of literatures, and again you can find it the literatures also, and so that you can put it in the reference like this. So you have to conduct the searches and keep the track, very, very important. Then after that you have to review the literature. Means when you are going for reviewing the literature, then the in next slide, you can go to the next slide. Yes, reviewing the literature. Yes, this title of the slide is creating problem maybe, but I can recall it like this. First word is that the evaluate. I could see it. Evaluate the relevance and the quality of each source. Evaluate what you want to do it. Is not many a time the quality of the source we do not see. At the time of doing the research, what type of sources I am giving. Maybe authors, yes, many a time, okay, web URL version also we give this, that is okay. But while you are doing really research, then the Web of Science, Scopus, good peer review, established peer review journal, that is very, very important. So this is the thing, evaluate. We have to evaluate. We have to see the relevance and the quality of his sources, and then later on you have to consider the methodology, then the sample size, and the result of the studies. Because already I said that these are connected with the triangulation, and the triangulation is a method of basically a review or justifying the problems through the triangulated method. That means that from one angle we generally do not accept anyone's view. Any researches he is telling like this, then we will not accept. The reason is that what other researchers also tell this particular research opinion, then after that I write myself. That means somebody gives, I do not believe. My saying, I do not believe. I will believe only when others, lot of the other also tell. But again, if they tell unnecessary without methodologically, I will not accept. This is the research view. I will accept by looking their sample size, their methodology, their result of the studies. Getting it? So like this way, review of the literature is done. That means if you do not, while you are writing the review of the literature, then you have to see the methodology, sample size, and the result of the study. Next, you have to organize literature by theme, by thematic review. Thematic review means, suppose this, I have told you that climate science, climate change, impact on the biodiversity, that is the loss of life and the extinction. One part, climate science. Another part, connection of the climate science and the biodiversity. The third part, the loss or extinction of life or the biological system. So like this way, 3 themes already is coming from that. 3 themes. Without that particular theme, you cannot create a thematic review. Under that theme, again, concepts are coming. All of you know what is the concept. Concept is a combination of the construct, and construct are the combination of the contents. Contents are when connected, then it is construct is created, conjecture. When conjectures are several times reviewed, okay, there is a connection, there is a connection. We are justifying ourselves that there is a connection. Then conjecture starts. And conjecture will tell a construct. Construct means, all of you know what is the concept of motivation. Under motivation, there is a different type of motivation. Suppose this hedonic motivation or the Maslow's views of motivation, physical this thing is a construct. Within that physical motivation, within the physical, psychological motivation, physical motivation, social motivation, then the physical motivation while take into account, then what you take it, within that there is a small content. Is it not? Physical motivation, food. Is it not? Shelter. Physical motivation normally kind of clothes. Then the little bit physical comfort. So these are the physical motivation. These are the things normally motivate us. So like this way, there is a content, and these content are each are connected again. The comfort is connected with the shelter. Comfort is connected with the seating system, like that. So everything is connected, and all these connections, while you put it in a particular class, this is known as a construct, conjecture, which is from the all the conjectures, again related conjectures create a construct, and the related construct create a concept. Getting it? So the concept, while you are going for examining this thing, then the concept, you have to organize the various literature based on the concept. Then you have to identify their pattern, their trends, their gap in the existing research. Then automatically you will find, okay, your resources, or unnecessarily you are not reviewing, you are going to review the things under very, very objective way. Because with a certain objectives you are having a lot of the questions in your mind, then only you are doing the review. Next, while you are doing the review of the literature, you have to summarize the key findings and arguments. You have to summarize the key findings and the arguments from each sources. One sources is this, another sources like this. So you have to compare the contrast of a different perspective. You have to compare and the contrast of the different perspective. So you have to, at the time of writing of a review of literature, you have to compare the contrast, is it not, from the different perspective, because this perspective, you understand already, I said that there is a triangulation is a perspective. Triangulation itself is a perspective. It's a very, very defined form. But there is again beyond that also, because the philosophy is there is no end. So from the different perspective, while you take into account the philosophical background you are going to ask, because this philosophy generates the question and the questions. Okay, so identify the areas where there is a consensus. You have to identify the consensus in the literature, and where there are conflicting opinions you have to examine. Then you can provide critical analysis and synthesis of the literature. At the time of reviewing literature, you have to provide the critical analysis and synthesis of the literature. Very, very important. While you are doing the review of literature, you have done thematically. Initially, you understand that there should be, you have to create a theme, and theme will come from your conceptual knowledge. Otherwise, your theme will not be clear. So, thematically classified your all the literature. Then what you do, you are writing from the different perspective and to find out the compare the contrasting. This article say like this, that article say like this, is not, that article is different from that, this article methodology is different from that, like that. So like this way, while you are writing, then you have to go for the consensus. Yes, is there any consensus? How many of the literature? Suppose today you have taken the literature review, you are doing out of the 1000, is not literature review. In case of the PhD, at minimum 1000, minimum 500 review of the literature is very, very important. Even thematic, I'm not telling about the systematic review, I'm not telling umbrella review. There's a lot of the types of the review. Later on we are going to discuss it, that the various types of reviews are there according to the objectives of the research. That review later on we'll think, but while you are doing, we must do one thing, that is this critical analysis one part in the review of literature. Synthesizing of the literature is very, very important. Synthesizing, and the art of synthesization, one should know it. And these particular words, also keep in mind that at the time of doing our literature, then we have to how to write a critical analysis, how to write synthesization of the literature, and what are the strengths and weaknesses of the existing resources, strength and weakness. If you cannot judge, then you cannot enter to your resources as a strength and weakness. Getting it? So to put under that, strength and weaknesses will tell the gap of the research. To find out the gap of the research, what we have to do? Critical analysis. Then we have to do the synthesis, and within the synthesis we can find or the track, yes, there is a gap, we have to do. This is the ultimate problem. So for this particular problem, let us go ahead. Let us go ahead. What type of question I should refine? What type of hypothesis I should refine, like this? All right. So this is about the review the literature little bit process I'm saying. Keep in mind, any confusion at this point? Any question if it is there? Because later on we'll go for something technicalities. Anyone, you can talk to me if you are having question, any confusion, anything is there from the last. Yes. Yes. Yes, participants, dear participant, if you don't inquire, then I will continue. Then ultimately what you are going to get, you are only listen my lecture only. You have to verify me. That is also review of literature. Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
good evening, sir. Myself, Pratyusha from Kolkata. Sir,
Yes.
actually, I wanted to know that when we are doing the review of literature, then how do we put in our this thing project proposals? Like in the tabular form, will it be very catchy, or in the sense that if we write, like as you said, we are writing in paras, that will be better.
Yeah.
We'll
Now the
have a
thing is
better
that
impact.
para, you see, para writing, many of the intelligent researchers, what they do, para writing also. Suppose study number 1, suppose the Borman A or XYZ Mukherjee, is it not? Comma, and like this way, the same classified one group people in a single para they put it. They studied like this. That is a very rich type of literature review. That is also. Now, while you're going for the tabular format, that is actually what I should say, it is not that much matured system. Even though it is look like a very good, okay, this is like this, and this is transparent system. to give a brief overview, so table
Hmm.
can be done. But the table is such thing that the research having lot of the dimension. All you cannot put it if you are putting it in the, because it is a
Hmm.
qualitative research format, is it not? It is a qualitative analysis. So while you are reading a particular literature, then putting it under the so many column will increase.
Hmm. Hmm.
Column increase,
Hmm.
but the column increases. To reduce that one, you can do, especially you can use the triangulation. Okay, concept is this concept. Then under the concept XYZ 10 literature, their methodology adopted is this, their time frame of the study is this, then their outcome is this. All right, their outcome is this, methodology adopted like that. So like this way, in a single theme, you can create a tabular form. But when you are having triangulative fashion, then automatically it will be good. Otherwise, not table how you are creating.
Hmm.
Many a time writing author, page name, ISSN number, these are written. There's no need.
But then
ISSN, yeah.
tabular form, it's catchy, as you said, that at one glance we can see like who has done this work and what is the topic,
Methodology. What
etc. But
method?
then we cannot really emphasize, or we cannot really clarify in the
Hmm.
tabular single table. That is so, of
No,
course.
not possible, because it's a quality content analysis again. This
Mm,
becomes a content analysis. Now you have to master in the content analysis, and
mm,
systematic mastering of the content analysis of a particular research, that will leading to the multiple perspective, and ultimately it will create a big and long table. Long
mm.
table one is that a long table by the numbers of the research reviewing,
Columns and rows.
or
Huh.
another is that a breadth of the breadth will also you
Mm,
will increase
mm,
depending upon the various types of the problem or the
mm.
perspective. So
Yes,
that is the reason why what happens in the tabular format, one should be very careful.
yes.
One should be very careful, and you
Mm,
should follow a method, a standard method. So
mm.
now if you are getting already that triangulation can help us a lot. Triangulation. But if you have a selective theme, under that theme, so many literature, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 literature, or at a time, a club, a group of the literature, they are common methodology, they are common findings, they are common something.
Mm.
Is it not? They are common time frame.
But
That
then,
can
hmm,
serve. Yes, yes.
can we, sir, then as you're saying that we can mention it in the paras, and
Mm,
at the end of that, like in the
yeah,
small table, just the
yeah.
catchy points would be mentioned in the table.
Casey points can be mentioned if it
Okay.
is an exceptional one. You see, common problems are there. Suppose while you are going for the population study,
Mm-hmm.
simple example, population study, is it not? While
Hmm.
you are going for population in a district, same district, is it not? Population maybe gender, is it not? Gender increased, gender population
Hmm.
increase, or the non-gender population increase,
Hmm.
transgender population increase, like this. So
Hmm.
like this way, not that you are getting a picture of that. This is a common.
Hmm.
These are the common. But at a time, suppose in the West Bengal, all the district out of the 25 or the 30 district, all the district has been covered by many of the literature several times. Then to
Hmm.
what to do? Same methodology, same type of things in different time they have done. So
Hmm.
in different time, you can put it, okay, in different time or within a time frame of a 1 decade. The 10 people we found, methodology is same. Their
Hmm.
findings is this, their findings is that. That is also synthesization. Table
Hmm.
can be used for the purpose of synthesization and
Hmm.
the transparency and the content reflection. Content reflection.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Next, any
Hello, sir.
question? Yes. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Myself, Akif Haider. I
Yeah.
want to just ask a question.
Yes.
Sir, most of the review literature are written from a thesis or a specific research article or research thesis. But I want
Now,
to know that.
uh,
How can I write a review literature from a conceptual book who have 300, 400 pages? What
okay.
is the technique?
You see, for the conceptual book, for the concept you are doing review of literature. That means the concept enrichment. To make concept, suppose you are having tourism, getting it? Tourism,
Yes.
suppose. Example is a tourism. Tourism, all the tourism sector, the people require the skill. Is it not? Skill. Skills of the tourism, that means the tourism books are dealing about the various types of skill. Out of that one, somebody will tell about the hard skill, somebody will tell about their soft skill, is it not? So that you are getting from the textbook. And from that one, these textbooks are telling about it to enrich the concept only you are doing review disease. Understood? For enriching your concept, not for doing the research. Later on, you are going to do the research. Once you are doing concept review first, then you can take that textbook. That is not a problem. Again, research, you see, for doing review of literature, many a time mixed literature. Textbook also you have to see sometime because of the concept enrichment, because of methodological enrichment, then the review of the papers. Sometimes the exhaustiveness of the study which is conducted for the various different angles, that is the thesis you have to take into account. So the you can go for, okay, thesis reviewed, is it not? Thesis, research thesis reviewed. After that you can make again the triangulation, then you can do similar way. Articles you can do similar way, then the textbook also similar way you can make it. So many multiple tables will come. After that you are coming to a one because your one criteria should be fixed, that okay, we have to go for synthesization, we have to find out the gap. So ultimately you, from the all the summaries, all the tables, you are getting one summary. That means the one summary you are getting from the each individual table. Then later on, all the again that all the summaries, while you are summarized again later on, this will become a total synthesis. Even from the textbook also, it is mixed with the your research literature or the article also, or even from the thesis also. Ultimately, synthesis will come at the last part at this time. So the initially what we will do, content wise summary, then the content wise summary. From the content wise summary, again you are summarizing, then you are finding the total literature review and the synthesis of the review. So like this. Now clear?
Yes, sir.
Are you
Now
clear?
can I add the text, sir? Can I add the textbook literature in the part of literature, textbook conceptual things?
Textbook, actually, I am telling that textbook can be only used, it is not study. Textbooks are only to enrich your concept. While when you are going to do the study, which starts from the concept. Many a time, researches are not studied with the concept only. From the concept, we do not come. You can incorporate that particular review from that when you are enriching the concept. Suppose you are doing first motivation. You are doing, suppose this social development. Then there is a concept. This concept too, you are getting so many textbooks. Getting it? Or from the concept you want to develop a new concept, then you can review your textbook. But normally research is based on the research. Research has to give your input from the research. All right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah. Next, any question? Any question, anybody? This is an interesting area. Writing of a research, again, it requires again the art. Is it not? How to, what is the art of review? Is it not? Art of reviewing, that is very, very important thing. Many a time we normally forget, okay, as the table we have got it, we'll do everybody. But how he has developed his perspective for creating a table by following the content analysis. Is not? Because he understands the research content analysis. So that is also important. Many a time mechanically we learn, but mechanical learning sometimes we may fail to justify many of the problem. Okay, fine. Now let me go to the next phase. When you have written your reviewing literature, then you have to organize and write your literature review. Organize. Without organization, you cannot. So how to organize? Literature review outline should be based on theme. Yes, already I said. Thematic. While you are organizing, then it should be thematic. You can organize the things according to the chronological order. When it is historiographic research, you do historiography. All of you know what do you mean by historiography? Can you tell? Can you tell? In the qualitative research there is the historiography. What is the historiography?
So it is locating the whole literature in the entire pedagogy, since there are many
kind of knowledges that can be there regarding a particular issue or a particular topic. So when we locate it in the pedagogy, we sort of historicize it, and then we can talk about the present context, and we cannot talk about the present without historicizing sort of.
Okay, fine. This is also one query I would like to clarify. Suppose at this moment what you are, if I take a photograph, then it is one shot. Is it not? It is one shot. And from today, tomorrow also I'll take photograph. Day after tomorrow also I'll take a photograph. Like this way, n number of the days if we take the photograph, then all the photograph, I should not ask anything about you. If I see the whole the photograph, your day-to-day behavior I can tell. Getting it? Day to day, how you are growing, how it look like, how you are getting that is your makeups, is it not? All these things, ornaments, how you are using, what is your dress pattern, everything will be able to say this is histograph. You see, a one shot photograph is not a photograph, is it not? It cannot speak about the history. It's a multi shot. So histographic, you can do the chronological study order. Then when the problems are there, then multiple times by the different authors, different researchers, if they examine it, same the things in a different time, then it is in chronological order. Or understood? Or methodological approach. You can use the study or the organize your review of literature on the basis of the methodology. So methodological approaches you can use. Again, you see, keep in mind that the triangulation having a lot of the dimension. The 7 type of triangulation is there. 7 types of basis of the triangulation is there. That triangulation, if you put it, then anything you can do it. A time basis, then the time basis. Methodological basis is not concept basis like this. So you can organize your thing with the help of the triangulation. Understood? So next, write a clear and coherent narrative. You have to create your narrative. While you are going to study or review the literature, you read one article and you should create a narration. Narration is very, very important. What he said, what others say, what is he contrast, how he contrasted, like this. Writing a coherent narrative is very, very important. Narrative. All researchers narrate a certain phenomena. All researchers narrate a certain problem. All researchers narrate or each research normally explain about the some methodology. It narrates about the methodology. It narrates about the particular phenomenon. It narrates about the particular the analytical pattern or the writer's perspective. So it all narrates. So you have to create your own narrative on the basis of all the narratives. So narratives is very, very important. These words you keep in mind in the literature review while you are going to do. Before that, you try to see how to look like a narratives. What is this? How can I create a narrative? What is the art of the doing the good narrative? What look like a good narrative? You try to see. Then after that, you try to write. Suppose he has conducted X and Y, conducted a research based on this sample is this on the area of this, like that. So when you are going to say, it requires a good narrative and like how much you can compact in your narrative. Because in a single sentence also, if you write, suppose the article for the Elsevier, if you write for the article for the Taylor and Francis, then they normally looks about the review of literature, how you are using your own narrative. That is, they look it. That is your authentic part. That how you are looking, how without using their language, how you are using their phenomenon in your own language, like that. So this is very, very necessary. And after the analysis, when you're rich in the narrative, then your synthesization will be very, very narrative, very, very stylistic, and it will give a lot of the information in a single sentence. So that is the thing. And many a time what you have to do, use proper citation for each sources. For each sources, there should be proper citation. Keep it in mind. And ensure that there should be consistency of this citation. It may be the APA, if it is APA, APA. And if it is a MLA, then it is MLA. If it is a Chicago, then Chicago. If it is a IEEE fashion, then it's IEEE. If it is a Harvard fashion, then Harvard fashion, like that. You have to use the proper citation. You should not mix at the time of writing as literature review. Your citation pattern should not be mixed with many things. So next is the conclude literature review by summarizing key findings, or the summarizing the key findings and later on identifying the gap. That means the existing research, this much I have conducted, then after that gap is this, and suggesting, you can suggest the future areas of research. Then once it is suggestion is there, that suggestion will support to your particular problem. Okay, my problem is this. Now I am going to this, after this particular gap I have found, methodological gap, conceptual gap, content related gap, time related gap, or some X gaps I have found, or relational gap, correlational gap, analytical gap I have found, descriptive relation gap I have found. So because of that reason, I am going to describe, I am going to analyze, I am going to say, I am going to explore like this. So the gap, you have to find it out of your review. All right. So at least you have got this idea how to do the review of literature review. Yes. Any confusion again? Yes. Confusion? Pratyusha?
No, sir, no confusion, sir. You have
Okay,
just
clear. No,
asked very
clear.
detailed.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now you have got it at least idea. Again, I am telling that when these 2 hours is not adequate. If you are coming to the board and pen, then automatically the things will be different. Is it not? The picture will be something different. We will be able to explain in a different way. But whatever it may be, let me go to this type of the review. Review types. Review, literature review itself is a big research. Big research. Majority of the in the article, while you find it, many of the articles are articles, not research papers. You will find review of the literature. They are rich. You see, medical science based on review. Majority of the medical science and pharmaceutical science are based on review only, and they try to find the gap, and after that they do the experimental work. Getting it? Before that they have to do they are very rich. Oh, what we the social scientists, we are not doing anything. We are not justifying at all. We are immature. We should have to scold ourselves that what we are. But the medical science, pharmaceutical science, engineering science also, their review of the literature is very rich. Okay, now the types of the review, while you see that you will find on the basis of a system, systematic review. Systematic review can be conducted systematically. Money, you will classify, categorize, problem identify, etc. All these things can be done with the help of the systematic review. And now, earlier systematic review, doing systematic review is a very costly exercise, very time-taking exercise. It requires a rich exercise again. But today, you find that systematic exercise, it is a systematic review. If you want to do, then there is a software. So many softwares are there. You will find, but you put it this particular word, that is systematic review within bracket. Within bracket, you can put it, yes, the various software relating to the systematic review. You can explore it, then you can find the name, those who can enter, or otherwise you try to understand how it is operated, how the systematic review look like actually, who has done systematic review. Any title is there, any type of article is there, you try to see that, what it look like, how it look like, how they do, what are the methodology of the systematic review, and on the basis of the systematic review, how many papers you are finding, how many papers, directly a systematic review. A systematic review on the medical, suppose this something is not a systematic review on the cancer patient recovery, like that you will find. So under that, how many types of the articles you can find under the systematic review directly as a title, try to see it, then automatically you understand what method they have applied. I don't like to give you the title's name of the software at this moment. Next type of the review is narrative review. Review to be conducted for the purpose of narration. Narrative review is normally used in the history and philosophy, or in case of the sociology, or in case of the business management also, or economics also. Narrative review, its objectives is something different. Economic phenomenon, narrative review. Economic phenomenon in a different point of time, different way economics are discussed. Is it not? So the narrative review will normally find it out. Okay, why, how, at what time, how they narrate the economic phenomenon of the world, or how many times, how the war is normally discussed under the world like this. So that is the thing. You can get the narrative review. Again, narrative review, how it look like, who done it, where is the rich area. Try to see this narrative review. Second type, this is. Third type is a critical review. Critical review also, so many angles are there at a time you are doing. How you can become critical? What is called critical review? What is called critical review? That you should know it. How can I do a very critical review? Because critical review is very, very important. Next, scoping review. Scoping review will try to create scope. Scoping review means they will try to create the scope of a research, or what is the scope they have taken under a particular problem or a phenomenon or a particular boundary. So that is called scoping review. That is also you try to see. Scoping review. Review is done for the scoping review. Next, methodological review. Methodological review can be done on the basis of the methodology. Next is the meta-analysis. Meta-analysis. This term you can do it. You can see, explore what is meta-analysis. Next is the rapid review. You can see the rapid review. Review is done rapidly. Many a time what is happening, our researches are much more is the rapid review. Rapid review. So next is that the integrative review. How it look like? What is that? Umbrella review. What is that? Umbrella review. Making an umbrella. The problems under various types of scopes. Umbrella having so many sticks. Is it not? The sticks, all sticks are telling different problems, but all are integrated together by a big canvas. So again, it is having a one thread, sticks, is it not? And you are holding that particular stick. After that, they will coming. So like this umbrella review, what is this? State of art review. Reviews are state of art. How the state of art review can be done. Next is the narrative and traditional literature review. That is theoretical review, mixed studies review, mapping review. So reviews are many types. Where or what reason we have to conduct such review. Many a time our professors in the research methodology, what they do, literature review, बस हो गया खत्म, एक ही घंटा में खत्म कर देगा, or the 25 minutes if they speaks, okay, literature review हो गया. मैंने देखा हूं ये ultimately they are destroying the research culture. They are destroying the research culture, and one should have to know that thoroughly review of the literature, various types of literature, for what reason, what type of questions to generate under what type of review, because the methods of the review will give you the research question and the hypothesis. If the method is not good, then you cannot get your basic answer, basic question, research question. So suppose here meta-analysis. Take the analysis, meta-analysis. What is the analysis, meta-analysis? Anybody? What do you mean by meta-analysis?
Sir, I think it's from the bigger canvas. We are extracting the theme and moving into the finer conclusions.
Actually, what is the meta-analysis? Is that the analysis on the analysis. Getting it? Meta-analysis is analysis on the analysis. That is meta-analysis. Analysis on the analysis. So ultimately, how to do it? Meta-analysis. We are not getting the meta-analysis. We are getting many a time thematic analysis. Is it not? That the meta-analysis is a group of the analysis as they together. We are going for narration for a particularly a group of the literature together at a time. So this is meta-analysis. So meta-review. Ultimately, meta-review means meta-analysis, a same thing. So like this way, mapping review. What is the mapping review? While you are going for the study, there you have to do the mapping review. That means that what problems is how it is creating a particular map, conceptual map or something like that. Getting it? Methodological map. So mapping review can be done. So there are different types of the review, and you should keep in mind that while you are going for doing the research, then you should be rich in the review of the literature, because methodology of the review of literature, if you are enriched, then you will be able to ask a lot of the question. You will become really a philosopher. Getting it? You will become really a philosopher, that what angle he is asking, why, how he is addressing the problem, how much he is methodological in this nature. So this you can get it. Okay, so the types of the review we can see next. We can go for, on the basis of the type of the review, whatever you use, that we can get the question. Already I said, questions we can find it out, connections we can find it out. Now the hypothesis we have to generate now. If you do not have complex review, then you cannot have complex hypothesis. Is it not? If you are creating simple hypothesis, then the simple hypothesis will come. So many a time, what is our hypothesis? There is a relationship, there is a correlationship, there are correlation, there is a no relation. That is our hypothesis. But there are different types of hypothesis. There is a different types of hypothesis. Hypothesis on the basis of your complex thinking, then complex hypothesis. A hypothesis that involves relationship between the multiple variables. For example, hypothesis might suggest how genetic disposition, diet, exercises interact to produce a particular outcome. You see, very simple, very one side you see very, very difficult. Hypothesis might suggest how genetic predisposition, diet, and exercise interact to produce a particular outcome. Is critical. You see, from the multiple perspective it has come, multiple subject dimension it has come. So the complex hypothesis to be created, you have to go for the complex connections of the various types of review, then you can relate it together. Hypothesis building is coming from the richness of the and clarity of the review methodology. Next, simple hypothesis. There are hypotheses which are very simple. Okay, a hypothesis that evaluates the basic relationship between the dependent and independent variable. And from the review of the literature, we can find, okay, this having relationship, this does not have, this is showing, this not showing, there is a absence, there is a presence, like that. So ultimately relationship we find. So this is simple hypothesis. These are all simple hypothesis. You are putting null hypothesis, there is a relationship, there is a no relationship, that's enough. But this is very simple. Empirical hypothesis is what? A hypothesis based on the thing that can come or that can be seen and measured, such as direct observation or the experiments. Empirical hypothesis. What is empiricism again? Yes, Jintu Foucault. Jinu Foucault. What is your opinion about this empirical hypothesis? What do you mean by empiricism? Empirical. Yes. What do you mean by empirical? Prasanto? Pratyusha?
Yes, sir. I think it is based on some standard parameters or measurements, and from that we can deduce some assumptions.
It is not like that. Simple way. What the numbers is? What the numbers is? Empirical. You can visit empirical. Empirical means it's having some existence. There should have some existence. Suppose now empirically when you tell, okay, we speak, I do have suppose this something expression, that is I tell, okay, various times I am using some of the special words like that. So this is empirical, countable, yes, number, what the number says, what is verifiable, is it not? And empirism basically done mostly in case of the economic, suppose. Empirical, number says,
what the number is there, that is. Getting it? So hypothesis based on the things that can be seen and measured, that can be seen plus measured, such as direct observation or the experiment. If you do it, that is empiricism. It is coming from the observation. It is coming from the seeing, and which is again the next time also you will see same thing. Getting it? So that is called empiricism, and empirical hypothesis is based on that. Next, you are having null hypothesis. A hypothesis that posits no effect or relationship. That is called null hypothesis. It is establish a baseline for the statistical testing and promote the objectivity. That is the thing, null hypothesis we create. Next, directional hypothesis. You are having a hypothesis based on direction. It will lead to the certain direction. It is called a directional hypothesis. A hypothesis that specifies the expected direction to be followed to determine the relationship between the variables. That is called directional hypothesis. When you are creating directional hypothesis, then the literature review has to say some direction. Getting it? Literature will say. The methodology adopted in the literature, that will say some directions of the future research. So this is about the directional hypothesis. And one should keep in mind that only a hypothesis we do have null hypothesis. No other hypothesis. Hypothesis, directional hypothesis. Associative hypothesis. A very renowned professor also say like this. Very renowned professor. They are very renowned professor. They also say a similar thing. And hypothesis means null hypothesis. And from that they will show the mastery. Oh my God. Mine. There are so many hypotheses that can be written on the basis of our methodology of the research, methodology of the review, which you have adopted, which is generated here. Okay, somebody has given a hurry thumb. Okay, you want to talk to me? Yes, Meghna. Meghna, you want to speak to me? Meghna? Yes. Okay, fine.
No,
So
sir. Actually, the slides are not visible.
Slides are not visible. Okay, slides. This is to in the front of me. You have understood that I am sitting in the bed of a hotel. So how can I give it, because it is supplied by your organizer.
Sir, it is visible.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Is visible. Now next is that the associative hypothesis. What is this associative hypothesis? A hypothesis that defines relationship and the interdependence, basically relationship and the interdependence between the or among the variables. To take into the example, what we can do, associative hypothesis, change one variable will result in the change in the other variable. Associative variable, change in the one variable will lead to this change in the another variable, change of the another variable. That is a impact analysis. Getting it? Impact analysis. Suppose in case of economics also you found that substitute, complement, all these things. At that time this is happening. And in the similar way in the tablet also. If you change one tablet, then you have to reduce another tablet. Is it not? Suppose if you are using the digestive tablet, then the another day the gastric tablet you should not use. If you are using the Ayurvedic, then you should not use the allopathic like that. So you have to combine together. If you are using the homeopathic one combination, then another combination you have to reduce. Like one factor changing will lead to the another factor changes like this. So this is associative hypothesis. So you can find it out from the methodology of the associative when you are narrating the things. You have to find out the narrative relationship. Yes, that because of this happening, they are also impact. So like this way, there is a association. Yes, there is a association. Then you have to go for associative hypothesis. Then statistics will also follow. Okay, associative type of test, association test or disassociation test, like this. Next, there is a conceptual hypothesis analysis or the conceptual analysis which can be hypothesis. Many people will tell, "अरे hypothesis तो null hypothesis होना ही है." सीधा मैंने बोल रहा हूँ, I am going to say you that just you don't accept it. That person does not have any knowledge. There is a conceptual analysis. Conceptual analysis normally speaks about the analysis that can be used to cluster, classify, or correlate and conjecture, create conjecture. Then the cluster, classify, create conjecture, then it is known as a conceptual analysis. And in this case also, if you can, you should have assumption, you should have presumption. Now, after telling so many things about the hypothesis, may I ask you, what do you mean by hypothesis?
Sir, may I?
Yes.
Sir,
Pratishta?
hypothesis can be termed as some pre-assumed phenomena, like while starting a research.
Hmm.
So
Why it is pre-assumed? No, it is not
we are
pre-assumed
trying to
phenomena.
prove that particular
Ah,
assumption.
yes, not assumption, it is a statement. It is a statement. Any statement, we are coming from the narration to the statement to be proof. It is a statement. Then we can tell, now, is it all the statement? Now you have got it lot of the hypothesis, all right? You have got the lot of the hypothesis, various types of hypothesis. It may be the statement in reference to the null hypothesis. It can be a statement about the directional hypothesis, direction. You wanted to assume the direction, so they assume on the basis of the all literature. It's a proof literature. Is it not? This particular statement is created actually. It is the outcome of the entire literature review. So a direction you found it, and these directions you are giving a statement, and this statement need to be proved further with the special methodology. Many people will tell hypothesis means there is required statistics. Hypothesis may not be required statistics also. Many a time hypothesis can be proved with the narration also. But the narrative and discursive hypothesis, while you are going for discursive type of things, then it requires a lot of the, again, ideas and contra ideas at that time of expression. So that is the reason why people generally do not believe. People are objectively, how many people normally read suppose one can read the upannas or something book like that, so many things people will tell, I am reading that thing like that. So many people have very rich readers are there. That is different case, facts and phenomenon reading. But in case of research methodology, once it is passed out in the master degree, they normally forget it. How many people read? Again, those who teach, then they will read 1 or 2 books. Then after that, they will tell, okay, I become the master. But in case of the research literature, while you find the various types of research methodology books, then you will find different books, different ideas. And later on, you will find while you are going to read about the philosophical base and the psychological base or the philosophical base of the research or the mathematical base of the research, then you will find a different type of interpretation. Getting it? So that enriches your research ideas. That enriches your research expression. And this expression will leading to the creation of a different type of hypothesis. You know, because you have done through the method, you have done your research methodology, you have constructed your research methodology in such a way based on the earlier methods, is not earlier rich methods. Then after that, you have adopted a new method. And that is the reason why you are going to justify much more the new type of statement. Getting it? So that is the reason, like this way, you are going to prove it the new statement also. Suppose I would like to tell you that if it's somebody, nobody knows it, then who will tell about the morphology? Morphology, people will tell, okay, morphology is the study of the geography only. When the tectonic plates normally goes heated together, then one plate moves it become a hills or sometimes a dry zone, or it become a plateau like that. And this is a geographical area. But I would like to tell that morphology is a such type of study which can be studied in the nuclear fusion. And morphology having the, when there is a, you are having the problem in the life or in the society, having the wicked problem, what is known as a wicked problem, which cannot be defined, you cannot give it any type of definition at all. Suppose at the present time, if at all Indian we the people are here and sitting down and suddenly there is a blast of the nuclear bomb, what the situation will occur at that time? People will tell, okay, these problems are the only nuclear bomb. Just imagine that the loss, loss, loss in what form? Human loss, life loss, animal loss, biodiversity loss, building loss. After building loss, then again there will be debris. Is it not? Debris come out. Then the many things. Ultimately, you cannot have the definition. Again, loss. While you are thinking about the relational loss, if it is fall in the India, then the other countries people will cry. They will give the political loss. You see, this particular problem, a single phenomenon of a bursting of any bomb, any places, it becomes a politics, it becomes a concentration of a business, it is impacting on the society, it is impacting on the biodiversity, it is climate science, it impact on the business, it is what not, in economy. This is a problem. This is really, that can be sliced it out with the help of a particular software, which is known as a Zuiki box. Zuiki box. Is it not? That all things can be done like a Zuiki box. That you are having a rubrics game, a small the students or the class 7, 8 students, they normally play with a box, cutting in the various portion. And once it is a dismantle the system, then it is very difficult to match it up. This is called actually the box cutting, slicing. Then again putting it in the same order is very difficult. So the same thing that can be done with the help of the 2 lakhs parameter together in the left and right. Getting it? That means in the x-axis 2 lakhs, y-axis 2 lakhs, total variables, while you take into account total 2 lakhs of the 2 lakhs or the 1 crore into 1 crore variable. If you put in together, that can also be done with the help of the morphological study. And in case of the in the sky, when you are going for the astroscience, that type of study normally done. Now the thing is that those people who are only having the simple statistical knowledge, they will tell, only the hypothesis means only the null hypothesis, and you have to go for only the proving the statistics only. Like this way, people are making research are totally futureless. So I don't like to hit anybody else, but this is the ultimately limitation at the time of dealing about the hypothesis and the literature review. That is the reason why initially I said to all the esteemed participants that let us, once you are having here, you exclusively demand to the Nitusri, Boron, you exclusively demand that for the review of literature, why not 70s? That will be interesting, because from the review of the literature, if 70 people are joining here, all 70 will write 70 different articles with 70 different hypotheses. Then 70 article will be the asset for the India if you are writing a good article. How do you feel? My suggestion. How do you feel?
Next time, sure, sir. Next time
Yeah.
we'll organize FDP program on review literature only, and
Yeah.
we'll again invite you as a resource person, sir.
No, it's not like that. Don't invite to me. You invite somebody else so that they can tell. Yes, stage by stage they can tell. Is it not? Stage by stage, what to do, review of literature, how to do hands-on training, and complete the review of literature. Complete it, make it compressed. After that, make a book. Is it not? Publish a book. All 70 will do different type of review of literature. Is it not? Different type of different topic, different theme, different perspective. Make it. Then after that, everybody will understand. That presentation will be there. Then it will give a big this thing. And at the time of leaving, all the participants will take their own article or the book chapter, and that can be in the Elsevier or that can be somewhere like that. So that
Yes,
can
sir.
be
That's a good idea, sir. Thank you.
okay. Yeah. So that is the thing. I believe on this types of thing. Again, for suppose the statement of the problem. Statement of the problem in single day, I should not teach. I'm doing injustice. I may be doing injustice. So that's my statement of the problem. Writing the statement of the problem by looking the various literature, how to write a statement of the problem, and that can be a book. Well, different problems are summarized, and this is the problem.
This problem can be the contribution for the next group of the researcher. Yes, statement of the problem. That is for the unique exercise, like that. Okay, I know that I think you have, all of you have got it. Any query is necessary or the connection necessary. I know I already have cut many of the reels. Many of the snaps I did not tell, because I know that the time also short and the 2 hours. How much time I have now spent? Yes, need to, but yes,
20 minutes more.
20 minutes more.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So 20 minutes more. That is now. Let us go for the research hypothesis. While you are going for the research, research hypothesis, basically, then the hypothesis design. Design of the hypothesis is a very, very important topic. Designing of hypothesis. How to design the hypothesis? Many a time, writing of hypothesis, coming of hypothesis, null hypothesis, directional hypothesis, these are the methodology. Na? Once you are knowing the methodology, then designing is possible. Very easy. But the designing will be done on the basis of the past study. Is it not? Again, there is a gap. In the PhD level, while you are going for the PhD level, MPhil level researches, then there are various types of gap. Can you know what is the gap? Research gap. What type of gap you are finding? Yes. What type of gap? Research gap. How many types of research gap you can find?
Yes. Anybody? Akif, Jagannath, Kaushik. Research gap. If you do not know the gap, types of the gap, then you will not be able to mix. You will not be able to make any type of thing. Innovative study is different. One is communicating that, okay, innovative study. Gap. Research gap. Research gap is information gap. Then your hypothesis will be based on, hypothesis design will be based on the information collection. Getting it? Information gap. Conceptual gap. Then your hypothesis should be concept framing. Getting it? Methodological gap. And when your gap, research gap you have found, there is a method and methodological gap. But when your methodological gap you are designing, then at that time you have to see because of the methodology, what type of outcome I can get it. Outcome. Methodological gap will tell the next researches will tell about the outcome gap. Some outcome will get it because of doing the study. All right. So next is the time related gap. Already I said that the gap is coming from the basically from the purpose or from the triangulation. Getting it? Triangulation. Without the triangulation, you cannot find any type of gap related issue. All right. Research gap. Research gap, you have to design, you have to define, and appropriately you have to keep in your you have to keep everything according to the triangulation. Yes.
Sir, what is the meaning of
Yes.
triangulation? Sir, meaning of triangulation, sir, as you said, triangulation.
Yeah. Triangulation means, you see, I do not really, a simple idea is that the triangulation to do the triangulation. Problem is somewhere, then from the 3 angles, we want to see. What is the 3 angles? One problem is there. Problem, I found it. Is it not? I want to see it from the 3 angle. Getting it? Triangle. That means the triangular. 3 angles. And what are those 3 angles basically? At least minimum 3 angle we get actually multiple angle. That is called triangle. Triangulation. In case of the research methodology, all the problems can be seen from the multiple perspective. problems are seen from the multiple perspective, whether it is a problem and problem is a problem somebody has said is a problem, or it is considered as a problem. So like this way, problems can be seen as a multiple perspective. Whether are we telling this scientifically this particular problem or not? So that we can see it. Okay. So this is about the research hypothesis designing also. But at the same time, there are more and many literature which will tell especially that how to design research literature. Isn't how to hypothesis, how to do the hypothesis. Now, in case of the suppose mathematical science, what is there? The question of a question of neutrosophy design. Neutrosophy is a mathematics. It normally speaks about the various types of model. Is not everything in the science or social science. They wanted to come to a normal situation. Actually, basically, is the zero. Is not, and after that you are having a normal distribution, bell-shaped curve like that. Is not, is coming down. Bell-shaped curve. Where the extreme there is a n. Is not, in the middle there is a zero. Then there is a y-axis. In the y-axis you are having a bell-shaped curve. Is it not, like a trishul? So the whole mathematics is done with this end. Now, in many a time, this anything of the distribution which is come under a normal distribution. Is it not? Then when there is any of the formula phenomenon, whatever is that, there are normal distribution, and in the normal distribution, finding the neutrality of a point normally discussed under the neutrosophic science. Is it not? And within that neutrosophic science, we wanted to make our social science also. We can create our hypothesis, association, disassociation, positive, negative distribution, all these things. Getting it? So like this way, while you are going to design, one should have to have a particularly subject ideas, where there will be the map, the phenomenon. And once you can design the phenomenon, then it will be easy for designing your hypothesis. What will be the subject? What will be the consequence? What is the association? What is this? Who will be affecting? How it is affecting? Is it not? Where it is? What is the gap? How much is the gap? If it is a gap, how much will be? Because of the certain intervention, what will be the gap? So if your ideas are coming from the multiple sides, then the hypothesis is so easy. Okay. With this one, I don't like to continue because so many phones has come. I have come for a certain assignment. So if anything, if you want to discuss, be brief and we can discuss. Be brief. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Now the session is open for questions from the participants. If you have any question or doubt regarding the session, you can ask Professor Borman, sir.
Yes.
It seems no more question from the participants. So may I question, sir? Max, two questions, sir, to you.
Yes.
Actually, some participants are students. So could you please explain the different types of citations, sir, to our participants?
Okay. And whether asking to me, actually I could not listen because of my connection disturbance.
Sir,
Yes.
my question is for the participants. That
Yes.
could you please explain the different types of citations, sir?
Okay.
Different types of citation.
Mm.
Because some participants are students, actually they don't know about that.
Okay, citation. Citation means simply I would like to tell that when you are reading, comprehending it, and later on summarizing after that also, okay, I have read this particular book and I am citing it. Suppose speak the truth. Everybody says and it does not require citation. But speak the truth, Gita. Is it not? Bhagavad Gita. Then it requires a citation. So when you have many a time, what is their citation is like that you have to tell authentically who is the author. Now, in case of the citation means what you are going to cite. Citation means within inverted comma, direct citation. And sometimes without inverted comma means what it said ekdam to. There should not be any discrepancy. What somebody said, same word, same comma, same hyphen, everything you have to give it. Then it is called direct citation. Getting it? And there is an indirect citation. Some phenomenon you are making it in your own language, but the facts and phenomenon words are almost similar, but words are placed in a different way. But the meaning is same. Then also it is also a citation, but you have to tell, okay, he said like this, is it not? So it is citation. Now citation can be done with the help of the reference, is it not? Citation, in-text citation and out-text citation. In text, while you are writing something, within the text you cite. And many a time out-text citation, you are citing something and does not have anything. References also, sometimes many of the books are written something, okay, in the title head, that author's name is given and the title head is there. Speak the truth, Satyameva Jayate, etc. Then something is written and the author's name is, that is also citation. That is actually very common type of things, and people are not knowing without then something wanted to give a message. Okay, I'm very good like that. But when you are going for writing an in-text citation is a very serious thing, because you are joining and joining and joining, because something you have read it, and that particular reading, the outcomes you are taking into account and joining your concept, and after joining the other's concept, you are making it. You keep it in mind that in our world, we never tell anything from our own. We cannot create. Nobody can create actually. Only everything we are joining differently. But in the joining differently, from which part what we have taken, we have to tell original person's name. We are telling about the history. Is not, we are talking about something, a context, some problem statement, etc. Then after that, when the concept are there, all concepts are already there. But sometime by joining of many concepts together, we are making a new concept. But we are telling innovation, plus, or by doing minus, we can get the innovation. Now in that part, whatever the small component you have joined, by giving your own color, is not that particular portion, if you are not mentioning to the person's name, then it will be meaningless, because people will having a confused how much intelligent you are, ba knowledge creator, Brahma se zyada ho jayega. You will become the Brahma. That is why what I would like to say you that whatever you are directly quoting, then you give the citation. And whenever you are reading and understanding, then after that, okay, this person said, then also your citation, but you are giving it color. That means citation is this, in-text citation and not in-text citation. Getting it? In-text citations having, it requires an art, and you have to go for smoothing of the sentences. Unnecessary, you cannot give the citation. So different types of citations while you are going for the telling. This only I would like to, in-text citation should be very, very clear. I don't like to tell, so many phone has come. Again, within this one, I would like to conclude. Again, thank you, all of you. All of you have given patiently, you are listening it. And really, I'm thankful that the Nita Sri has called to me. She was a student of Assam University. And by virtue of going inter-school exchanges, etc., program, research, etc., then only she could introduce. But I have forgotten her face. But still, whatever it may be, you are my student like. So with the thank you to all, and thank you to the entire organizer. Thank you to all the participants along with the namaste.
Thank you, sir. The session was really insightful, engaging, and interactive. In spite of your busy schedule, we have taken the sessions for this also. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Nita.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Coming to the end of the session, I, on behalf of the organizing committee, wish to extend my heartfelt thanks for your outstanding support in guiding us through the intricacies of conducting a literature review. The insights you shared have not only enhanced our understanding but also inspired a deeper appreciation for the depth and rigor of the research process. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
your presentation resembling a different real world situation will definitely help our academicians in their respective research area. I hope uh, we will meet again in the near future to learn from your expertise in some other domain also, or maybe in literature review also. Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable time with us. Good night to all. All participants may leave the meet now. Thank you.
Okay. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night, sir.